Hi everyone, I'm Raunak. I'm a fifth year medical student at Jesus College, and we are Embrace. We are a student-led organisation which supports the homeless in Cambridge. And today we're joined by Matt from It Takes a City. Last week we were joined by Keith. If you haven't checked that video out already, please do have a look. The point of these interviews, we just wanted to get a deeper insight into how students can help with the issue. And yeah, just before we start, Matt, could you just sort of introduce yourself and tell us about what your role is in It Takes a City?
Yeah, of course. So I'm Matt. I'm the first employee at It Takes a City. So I've been with them for 4 years, almost from the beginning. Two parts to my job. One is as a coordinator. So that basically means social media, our website, any materials we produce. But then today we're talking about my community engagement side, which is speaking to university students. It could be primary school or secondary school students, community groups, businesses. So it's really just getting out there, not only getting the word out about It Takes a City, but about the importance of partnership in a city like Cambridge to bring everyone together so that we can hopefully reach our goal, which is to end homelessness due to rough sleeping.
Amazing. And for those that don't know already, we as Embrace, we act as like a bridge between the university and the charities. So we liaise with a lot of the charities, one of them being It Takes a City, and we try and engage the university in helping as much as possible.
Yeah.
And Keith last week talked a little bit about what the aim of It Takes a City is. But I just wanted to ask you, sort of as your role as community engagement officer, what services does It Takes a City sort of have?
Yeah, there are probably three that students are likely to hear about. The first one is Crossways, which is, we're proud to say, an award-winning emergency night shelter that operates from the beginning of November to the end of March every year. And essentially that's a building out towards Chesterton where we have 20 ensuite rooms. So we take 20 of the most vulnerable people that are sleeping rough in the city. We provide them with, say, an ensuite room. You need to remember sometimes people may not have actually been able to have a proper wash in safety and privacy for weeks. And we work with them in partnership with organisations you may have heard of, like Jimmy's and Winter Comfort, but also the sort of drug and alcohol teams. So the idea being is those people come into Crossways and we don't want to see them return to the streets. So that's where partnership comes in. If they need methadone scripts or they need to deal with those kind of issues, we have a team that can come in and do that. And that is somewhere where students, in fact, from Embrace in the past have come along and volunteered. So that's Crossways. A fairly new project we have now is called The Haven. That's in the city centre. We were aware that women on the streets, whether rough sleeping or because they're vulnerable in some other way, they face extra potential dangers. So we've found somewhere that is safe and warm for them at the moment 2 nights a week. So that's open from 8 o'clock at night until 8 in the morning. And again, they can come there and get themselves something to eat. They can get some clean clothes. They can have a shower and a wash in safety. And again, get any other support needs they might need. And then during the summer months, we bridge that gap when Crossways is closed with what we call Survive and Thrive. So that is our team that work at Crossways, then follow those people that we've helped to house, whether temporarily or hopefully into a long-term tenancy. We then make sure that they don't fall back. So whether that's providing them with food parcels, it could be giving them some cookery lessons, it could be making sure they keep a medical appointment. But we want to see them not just survive in the community, but thrive. So they're the 3 main services. We do other little things as well, but they're the 3 probably students most want to know about.
Amazing, thank you. And you mentioned just on that, the Haven is open in the winter months.
The Haven is open.
Crossways is open in the winter months.
Yeah.
Haven is open 2 days a week.
At the moment, yeah.
At the moment. What are the barriers to kind of making that a year-long thing or making it 7 days a week at the moment?
In all honesty, money. It's funding. So I was saying before we started filming, the way It Takes a City works is we work with our partners. We identify where there might be a gap in provision. We then see and scope that and see if we can make a project out of it. And as with everything, we then have to look for funding. So for example, the Haven has received some funding from both Cambridge City Council and from national government to run a pilot. So what we do is once we prove a concept, we then, frankly, we have to chase funding, or we try to hand that on to a bigger organisation. But the same with Crossways. We would like Crossways to be a 12-month of the year project, but the particular need was identified for the winter months, where obviously we don't want people on the streets.
And in terms of student engagement in these projects, these amazing projects that you guys are running, what can we do and how can we get involved in helping?
So obviously you can volunteer, and again, like I said earlier, we're not precious. If you've got some time to give for a couple of hours and you want to give to help homelessness, then have a look at all the different organisations in the city and see which one best fits what you're looking to do with your time. But for It Takes a City, certainly in Crossways, we're always looking for, there's a number of roles which could involve helping to cook the evening meal that guests are entitled to eat. It could be cleaning once guests move out and before new ones move in. Or at weekends, we even ask people to come in, perhaps do a little bit of cleaning, sort some donations that might have come in, and even just sit down, play a game of Monopoly or watch television with one of our guests. Because I know from my own lived experience of homelessness, when you're on the streets, you very quickly become invisible. And you can almost start to lose those social skills, because if people aren't talking to you and not even making eye contact. So sometimes just coming in for an hour at the weekend, doing a bit of donation sorting, and then sitting down and shooting the breeze with a guest, that is as valuable as any kind of volunteering, really. You can do the same with the Haven, obviously, because that's a female-only space. We're looking for female volunteers there, and we're not looking for volunteers to go throughout the night, because we have staff that take it through till 8 in the morning. But if female students have perhaps got between 8 o'clock and midnight and they wanted to give a bit of time, and again, it's doing similar things. It's just going in and being a friend and a buddy to those women that are coming in.
Yeah, amazing. And how could we sort of find out more about, if students wanted to find out more about that? That's something.
There's a couple of ways. I mean, you can obviously look on our website, on It Takes a City's website, where we always list those opportunities. But I thought it'd be a good opportunity to talk about the 3 streets. These are 3 very simple digital ways that you can start helping people experiencing homelessness tomorrow. The first one is, you will see in Cambridge people on the streets at night, and we are aware that that becomes a shared space between students, the night economy, and those people that are just trying to bed down for the night. If you're concerned about anyone at any point, you go to a website called Street Link, and Street Link is a national initiative. You put in some information, you describe me, you describe as accurately as possible where I am. If you've got 3 words on your phone, you could even use that to get an exact location. That then goes to a national switchboard, and then in the case of Cambridge City Council, their street outreach team will be contacted, and they will go out and make contact with that person. And rest assured, if you use Street Link, you will then get a text message to say someone's been in contact with Matt. You know, we're helping him. So that's Street Link. You asked about how you can find out about opportunities. If you go to Street Support and then you look for Cambridgeshire, that's a service that we at It Takes a City manage. And if you look on there, first of all, there are 400 offers of help from 100 different organisations in the city. When I said about us being a partnership, so that can be if you're talking to somebody on the streets and they're looking for food, they're looking for clothing, for medical access. All of that information is on the Get Help section. And then there's the Give Help section, where you can go and find all of those opportunities to volunteer or to donate items. So Street Support Cambridgeshire, put that on your phone. And then the last one is, we often get asked the question, when I see people begging, especially in places like Pettycarry, I don't know whether to give or not. And it is a thorny issue. And it's one in the past where I have actually given money. But we tend to believe now that by giving money to that person, you may be 2 issues. You may, first of all, be easing their problem for a day or an hour. But also, we do know that many of those people are being coerced into begging. So what we would suggest is you use Cambridge Street Aid. That's run by the City Council, and you'll see street aid donation points all around the city. They tend to be surrounded by a big yellow rectangle that tells you about street aid, and you just use your phone or your card to make a donation. 100% of that money that is raised will then go to people who are moving away from the streets. It could be to buy an interview suit. It could be to buy a second-hand laptop. It could be for a whole number of things. But that's 3 practical ways using your phone tomorrow that you can actually at least know where you're walking you're walking down the streets and not feeling helpless. You've got that information to hand.
Amazing. So just to summarize for the students as well, you want to get StreetLink to see if we see anyone who is rough sleeping, we can report that straight away. So there's something that you can do to already help.
Yeah.
We've got street support. If you are thinking of volunteering, giving some time, giving some donations, you can download this app and give help in any way possible. There's so many different opportunities, and you can make it fit your time as well.
Yeah.
And Street Aid, which helps sort of accumulate grants.
Yeah.
And distribute that to people that need.
Perfect. Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing. And just one sort of last question coming to the end of the interview. Just wanted to ask, you mentioned that you, if you don't mind me asking, that you had lived experience of homelessness. What are some of the common misconceptions about homelessness?
Okay, I should say now I'm 60. This was 40 years ago. The common misconceptions, I'm often asked, what does a homeless person look like? And I always point at myself and say me. Although it was 40, I was homeless for nearly 10 years. I had to leave home because of domestic violence. I had no choice at 15. And I was fortunate, I say fortunate, in the 1980s, squatting was not a criminal offence. So I lived in London at the time, and I was able to find properties that were not being lived in, shall we say. But although there are some common themes, which could be domestic violence, we know that about 6% of people on the streets are armed forces veterans. There can be a whole host of common themes around homelessness, but every homeless person, their story is unique. So those misconceptions, we know through talking to other students that there are students at either of the 2 universities in this city that, if they were to come forward, would be classed as homeless. So they may be struggling financially, they may be struggling for a whole host of reasons. You won't find them on the streets, but you'll find them sofa surfing. That's what I did for, and I would spend 2 or 3 weeks on your sofa, and then I would move on before I felt as though I was outliving my welcome. There are students right now that are doing that. So it can affect anybody at any time. Just another statistic that I was talking about today. If you run a business and you employ 5 people, statistically, 1 of those is going to be vulnerably housed. That is the extent of the homelessness issue. As I said at the beginning, rough sleeping or sleeping on the streets is literally the tip of the iceberg of homelessness. So, yeah, those common misconceptions that it's a violent alcoholic drug addict couldn't be further from the truth. And often people who develop those substance misuse issues didn't necessarily enter the streets with them, but time and pressure and stress may cause them to seek to self-medicate.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I really appreciate you kind of delving deeper into your own experience. Just before we kind of end, did you have any last things for final messages for students as a whole?
I would say we really appreciate not just It Takes a City, but any charity in the city really appreciates any support that students give. What I would suggest, if you're new to the university and new to the city, is we have Embrace, we have Just Love, we have the Human Rights Law Society, and a number of other societies that support us. So have a look at the societies and see whether their ethos fits with what you're looking for. And get involved there. Or another one I was suggesting is Darwin College. For a number of years, the students and a number of staff have been running what they call Project Second Life, we always say any donation you give to It Takes a City, we will make sure that if we can't use it, it would be passed to where it can do most good. So Project Second Life, at the end of each academic year, they essentially hold an amnesty for students and say, if you're not going to take everything from your room and home with you or move on with it, please bring it to the common room and we will make sure it then gets bagged up and used. So last year, for example, we got, I think, 50 sets of bedding, which we can use or can be used by other people. You know, we got countless items of clothing. So please make sure before you go home at the end of each year, you clear your room. And if you want to find out more about Project Second Life, then speak to Downing College, because this is, I think, the 3rd year they've been doing it. But other than that, just please.
Is it Darwin, right?
It's Darwin.
Darwin, perfect.
Darwin College. Sorry, did I say
Perfect.
Downing? Darwin.
Yeah,
Darwin College. Sorry, yeah. Darwin College. But thank you for any support you can give. And we'll end homelessness due to rough sleeping in Cambridge if we all work together.
Thank you so much.
You're
Matt.
more than welcome.
I really appreciate it, and appreciate you sort of opening up as well about your
Thank
own
you.
experience. I'm sure all the students really appreciate that, and have learned a lot from watching this video as well, and I have as well. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And hopefully we'll see all of you in the next video. Thank you, guys.